Greetings, everyone. Wherever you're watching us from, welcome to another episode of UJ Sport on UJTV. My name is Collen Maepa, and today we're speaking to Netball Maestros from the University of Johannesburg. I'm talking about my captain of the national netball team, Bongiwe Msomi. We also have 3 netball players from UJ who are also in the South African netball team. Welcome to the team, guys. Please introduce yourself. Bongiwe Msomi, they know you. Nomfundo Mgomezulu, welcome.
Thank you.
Owethu Ngubane, she just joined the national team recently, and we've got Buitumelo Mahloko also. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Firstly, let's familiarize ourselves with the viewers, and the viewers to familiarize themselves with who is here today. Nomfundo, let's start with you. You played a very crucial role for UJ last year, of course, with your teammates. In the Varsity Netball tournament. How was it for you? Was it your first?
Yes, it was my first year and I was happy. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. You seem to be a shy person. Bad. Shy on camera, ne? Shy on camera, bad on court. Yeah. So where did it all start for you? When did you start playing netball?
I started, I think I was in primal, but to everyone to see me, I started, I think in 2012. I was going for trials for ladies soccer, but I couldn't finish it in soccer, so netball tried to stall me. I think that's where all my journey started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where are you from, and what are you studying at UJ?
I'm from KZN in Toba at UJ. I'm studying Diploma in Road Transport Management. Yeah, I'm doing my 3rd year.
Oh, okay. And let's go to you, Buitumelo. Buitumelo is also one of the people that are doing very beautiful things for the national team. I think you've seen her a couple of times on TV. When did it start for you?
I started playing netball at the age of 6. Back in primary, I was in a school that believed in sports and creating big personalities through sports. But seriously got into it, I think, when I was 9 years old. Joined the netball club that is run by the current president of South Africa, Sisile Molokwane. And I'd say from 9 years, that's where it all started, and started taking it serious at that young age. And, 16, made my first SA team, went on to make same SA team 17, 18, and that's where I can say the journey proper started for me in taking netball very serious.
Very seriously, yeah. And for you, Owethu?
I started playing netball in grade 4. And since then, I've been playing netball, and I got exposure 2021, my first Telkom Netball League, played for Kingdom Stars. So that's where it started for me.
Okay. And what are you studying at UJ?
Diploma in Road Transport Management. I'm a second-year student.
Second-year student. So you still have a long way to go as well. And what are you studying at UJ?
I'm finishing off my BCom Finance degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Captain, obviously you were roped in to help the University of Johannesburg Netball Club to do well in the University Sports South Africa tournament, as well as the Varsity Sports. And of course, you're playing with them, the players in the Telkom Netball teams. For you, I think a lot of people know already about your journey in netball. But maybe let's, for the sake of this interview and those that could be watching us for the first time, you come from Hammersdale in closer to Durban,
yeah,
right? And you started playing netball when you were 16.
Yeah.
And of course, like any other black kid who grows up in a rural area or a township, there's always a bit of a challenge when it comes to resources, whether we're talking kit, techies, or facilities, stuff like that. What do you think got you into netball, and when did you realize that this is something I really love?
I think mine was quite interesting. I never really wanted to play netball, and even when I think about it now, I know I didn't want to. And when I started, it was on a Saturday. I just went to watch my neighborhood friends actually at training, and there was 13 of them. So the coach, who is my mentor currently, he actually did coach obviously the whole session. Then he wanted them to play a full match. And I
Is that
remember
Coach Ngubane?
Coach Ngubane,
Yeah.
he's literally, I know if it was never there, I don't know. I don't think I'll even be sitting here today. But anyway, he actually wanted now, after coaching, he wanted the girls to play like a full match. And there was 13 of them. You obviously need 14 for, it's 7 versus 7. And one of the girls, from my township said, maybe just put Bongi in. I literally had no much clue, but because I used to watch the sport so much, I did have an idea. Like stepping on, I remember first time I was a wing defense, and it was just more to just fill in and help. And even at that time, I was like, I don't really want to play, but I'll help you. So I did take on court, and I remember him saying, you will come back on Monday for training. I don't know, like, and because I was shy, at 16 years old, you're quite aware of what you can do and what you can't. And I was very much of a, reserved. So I did say to him, I'll come, but, not really meaning that I would come. At home, we like very much of a cultural family. I never used to wear pants. I didn't have any training clothes. So I knew that if I have to come to trainings, then obviously I would need the shoes and I would need probably training shorts. I didn't have any kits. And on that Monday, he actually came with one of the old kits that the team had worn a couple of years, obviously, before I played, and he gave it to me. And there was lot of stories around that. Like the girls obviously were not really happy because it was their kit, and he looked like he really want me to play, so it helped to make sure that I have what I needed. But if I think of it, up to now, everyone really needs someone like him. Like, if you really have that person who say, I don't care of, where you come from, of your background. Like, if I see something in you, I'm going to follow through and I'll help you to be as best as you can be. You can actually achieve anything. And I think just every time, I constantly remember how blessed I am for him first, before anything, especially through sports. Yeah. And I think from there, he actually even made... I won't say my parents, because my dad at a time, he wasn't actually with us most of the time when I started playing the sports. But my mom actually wanted nothing to do with it, because all she knew was the transport money, this, money that. And obviously there's 8 of us at home. She used to work as I think a tailor, you call it. She used to make clothes. Yeah. And if I can remember correctly, I know she used to get paid like 300 rands on a Friday. So for her to literally want to support me and netball and the traveling and the playing shoes, we all know how expensive those things are. So he supported me in a sense that even my mom ended up seeing, the need of maybe there is something into this, but that was really late in the sport when I was already playing for the national side. But and that journey up to now, I want to say it's been fantastic. I'm still enjoying netball, and I'm so glad I started late, because if I had started it at I don't know, with Tommy's at them.
Which actually takes me to my next question. Say they started very early and they were very young in primary schools. You were 16. At 16, you're probably in high school by that time.
Grade 11.
Grade 10,
maybe grade 10.
Grade 11,
grade 9, grades, somewhere there. Is it possible for somebody to, it's possible. For somebody to start at a later age and still excel like you did. But how was the metamorphosis then from, not being a netball player at all to being one now that starts being selected for different teams, as if you started playing from a young age? How was that?
I think the first bit was probably biggest challenge was to get my family to buy into the idea of I can actually, play the sport, or it can take me somewhere, especially knowing that before it was still really like an amateur sport. No one really took netball serious. I remember myself walking to trainings every time after school, and I would see some people's faces. When you walk past someone, you can see them saying, is she really going to carry on doing this? When is she going to study? When is she going to, work? So every time I would constantly just pick up those negative vibes and not even knowing that it's actually going to take me here, because I didn't really love the sport. So it was more to, and I think, if I can be honest, I carried on playing the sport and doing as much as I can, just more respecting my coach, because I thought he actually put in so much work. He really wanted me to learn the skill. That I then just wanted to do it more because he's asking me to do it. And it was obviously my high school teacher. At that time, you'll be given a hiding if you don't want to do what you asked. So it was more like I'm ordered to. then eventually I started to like it.
Yeah.
But at that time, you know, there's also, I guess female sports, there's always like the jealousy creeping in. I started late and I was quite lucky to get selected at eThekwini. There were Saga Games. I got selected there, and you know, from there going to national champs, going to a national squad under 21, eventually being a captain for under 21 SA. Then straight from there, I came back, was selected for the squad now for the Spa Proteas. I think that whole journey, it all went so quick that if I remember correctly, I can just see myself getting up in the morning because I enjoy training and going for a run, and then people, you know, thinking that's just me and trying to be something, but not really seeing the direction of it because it was just netball. So at this point, I really want to say it was, the journey was quite awkward. I can't really say how it felt like because I was just going through emotions, and at the time, I'm just taking it day by day. And that's what maybe I think even now that I work with student athletes, sometimes you really don't have to think about these things too much. You need to just be on the zone at that time, do what you need to do. Eventually, you find yourself in such great positions because really, I did find that with myself. But also, I know that if my coach was not there, like I was not going to be able to make it. So that, the full journey is quite just fantastic. I think I just always not enjoyed because it was always, you know, nerve-wracking to change the setup, having to go from Hammersdale to a national camp, having to speak English constantly. Oh gosh, that was one thing. But it was nice.
When I got exposed to netball when I was still in primary school, obviously I think school sport is what obviously exposes a lot of kids to sport. Before you could watch somebody play on national TV in a professional league somewhere, it always starts from where you grew up. I think for me, if I'm thinking primary school between, I would say 97 and 2000, somewhere there. Girls or younger ladies that were a bit older than me in my area, they played netball after school. So they had, unfortunately, it was closer to my aunt's place. So if I went there to play, and all the other teams or the girls that formed teams in the neighborhood, they would come and play there. And I started learning netball there, right? The first thing that I learned during that time was if you catch the ball, when you land on the ground, the foot with which you landed with, it's not supposed to move. So you can turn around and pass the ball, but this one doesn't move if you landed, you know? And the other thing was, there was a thing called gripping. I don't know if you know that.
What's that?
So if you catch the ball and you slip.
Dragging.
What they call it gripping. So I learned that time. And obviously the poor girls didn't have techies. They didn't play on a proper surface, so they played on the ground, on soil. So obviously there would be a lot of that, and that would be a foul. So for me, exposure to netball started really there. And there were a couple of girls that were really very good, you know. And would you say netball was popular with Dumelo in your area? And when did you really start seeing that actually this is what I love? And was there somebody that was motivating you as a role model, or somebody that was playing the sport at a higher level and you say, I want to be like that person?
Well, growing up, my mom used to play, I grew up knowing that my mom used to play provincial and sometimes national. I mean, I grew up seeing pictures in the house. She had a couple of her trophies, right? So when I went to school, like Coach Bongi said, I also didn't really like netball specifically. I just played sport because growing up, I lived in a house where my brothers were national soccer players, athletes. So just growing up in a sports house. So that's how I really just got into sports. But to say I really loved netball at the time, I was just playing it because, you know, in school sports, there's the season for netball specifically. But like I said, when I was 9 years old, Cecilia Molokwane came and ran a camp at my school, and that's how I met her properly, knowing that she's into sport, and she took me into her club. So in my area, Polokwane, netball wasn't wasn't, I wouldn't say popular, but it was played in the schools there. For me to get more exposed to netball was me joining her club at 9 years old, and that's how I knew that, you know, there's actually netball clubs around the area, and there was teams that we played against, the good teams that we played against, but we were one of the best teams in where I was from, and that's how I got exposed to netball, playing against different teams, traveling to Zanin and these type of places, just playing netball, and then just going for trials and eventually, like I said, making under 16. When I was 16, I made my first SA team, captaining that team, made under 20 Region 5, under 20 baby Proteas, and that journey just showed me that, you know, netball is a thing, and netball is a journey. Like, you know, some people are really lucky to go from maybe school sports straight to national, but for me it was more of a journey, and you could see it from the under 16, the under 20, the under 21, the Proteas, and that is actually like the journey after all. So growing up, like I said, my mom was a netball player, and that's how I got into netball, because I was inspired
You
from
had
that.
somebody closer.
Then I met Cecilia, who I realized later played with my mom as well. So it's just, I just grew up around that, and that's how I got into it, and eventually started falling in love with it. So to say that I was like, I want to play netball, I want to be a Spa Protea from wasn't really me. Actually, I was actually more of an athlete, like athletics. Yeah. And then at 16, I just decided I was going to take netball all the way. Yeah.
And was it the same for you, Owethu?
I know.
Because I mean, we're now only 2000. Almost.
Yeah.
so a lot of these things, you know, I think things that for your generation, I think I'm sure you would agree with me, Coach. Things are more structured and organized for you guys. The older generation, it was scope and turn on.
Yep.
You know, we get in there. We played in, for instance, I played football. So it's the first thing that I was exposed to, because everyone in the area was playing football. There was not really any development structures. Then you played with your local team, with the boys, and then you also played at school, and then you only start traveling to other schools and other provinces because of your school. And then just your local team, the only way you get to challenge other teams is in your area or in your circuit where you come from, the region where you live. And we meet at school with the other boys, right? And then we discuss things about football, etc. And then we challenge each other. On weekends, we meet. For you, for her, I feel like it was always structured from a very early age.
Absolutely.
How was it for you in terms of your coming up?
I think for me it was more difficult because at primary school and high school, there was no sports, like there was no netball.
In your area?
Yeah, in my area. In primary school, we did play netball from grade 4 to grade 7, but it wasn't that netball was like, it was just primary school netball. So that's where I ended up playing netball. When I went to high school, we did have netball for like 2 years, and then they stopped all sporting codes and everything at high school. So I started like searching outside school, where can I like go for trainings and what. So every time I go to school and come back, I used to walk like a 30-minute walk, going to training every day. And I used to gym there. Like my mom didn't even have like, she didn't like netball at all. So I had to like still to go outside and like play, come back and deal with her later. I'm like, so it was quite difficult.
Sort you out later.
So I was going to go to training, I'll come back, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, but I know I'll do it again. But I was like, I have to, because I like the sport, like I love the sport. So
Were there other girls or kids that played netball in your area that you could go with?
Yeah, it was. In high school, I met 2 girls. They were twins. So they told me about their coach. They had a coach. His name was Bongiwe. So he said, you should come to training and join our team. We have trainings all the time. You should come. So I went there. We trained all like every day. I used to go there, but I was not going every day because I was like, I had school. I had like so much things to do, so I used to go there every day. And from there I started taking the sport serious. So we went to local tournaments every Sundays and Saturdays. We used to play there. And then I got and then we had someone called Precious in our area. So she was part of the national squad with Coach Bongi, so we got exposure to her, and she used to come to our trainings all the time. So I was like, I want to be like her. I want to play the national squad.
So there was somebody
yeah,
that
there was
inspired
someone
you.
inspiring me. So we used to train all the time. So when I got to high school, it became difficult because now I had Telkom Netball League. I was in matric. I had to go and play. So I had trials.
So let me understand it. You had joined the club
I joined the club
already when you were in high
Yeah.
school. And then, but then your school didn't have a netball
Yeah, our
club.
school didn't have any netball, any sporting.
Did they understand when you have to go for
Yes.
matches and sometimes being
My
away?
principal was a very good person. He understood everything. My mother used to go to the school and explain to him, like, my child has sports. Can you please, like, excuse her for this and this and this? And he used to, like, say, it's fine because I understand the sporting thing of netball and
Yeah.
what. So by then in matric, I needed to write trials at school. So we had, like, final exams and I had to go for Telkom. So we pleaded with him and told him, can we please, like, can I, like, try something, maybe write when I get there or do something. So when he said yes. So I played the 2021 Telkom. It was my first Telkom Netball League. I got best shooter of the tournament. So
Wow.
that for me was quite
Nice.
exciting because it was first TNL. So for me, it was big. And then my mom started realizing that, the sport it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
It's doing something.
So
I
she
can
started
see-
seeing you.
Yeah, it's doing
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
she used to complain a lot about, like, giving me money all the time. She used to say, when is the sport giving you money? We always, like, take out money
Yeah.
from our pocket.
It's all of
so
them.
It's always, like, a problem for them.
Yeah.
So from then, I had a coach called Lizzie Muhuli. So I joined another club. So in KZN, we have a regional league. We play every Sundays. And then we have a super league that we play, like, once a month. So she came, she talked to my mom. She said, I like your daughter. She has a good height. She can be good in netball. That. She took me in. She trained me. The team that I played for, it was Rebel. We call Rebel. So I
Yeah.
played for that team for 3 years, I think. So I switched clubs. I recently switched clubs. I'm playing for Cheetahs Academic now.
Okay.
But from there, and she was the one who, like, inspired me in netball and told me that you're going somewhere. Don't stop, because when you stop, nothing will happen. So if you carry on doing this and love the sport with everything in you, it will get you somewhere. So for her, I just wanna, I've never done this before. So for her, I wanna just say thank you to her, because she's the one that made me
got
who I
you
am
in-
today.
yeah, yeah.
She's the one who's been in, like, she was like, keep going, don't stop.
Yeah.
Even though I don't say, like, people keep on saying, like, I should, like, do something for her and thank her with, but I have my own time where I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll
the
go
time
to
will
her
come.
and,
The
like, do
time
it
will come.
properly, like,
Yeah.
and say thank you for everything you've done
That
for
you've
me
done.
and everything you've done for my mom and for my family. And she was the one who's like, when you go to training, she comes to my house and pick me up. They go to training, pick me back to my house. She was the one who's doing everything for me. So I want to say thank you to her.
Yeah.
And from then, I've been playing Telkom. Last year, I played for Fireballs. So I switched clubs from
Yeah.
KZN to Gauteng.
Gauteng.
So I played for Fireballs, where we won #1,
Yeah.
Division 1.
Yeah.
So
we will come to that. We will come
So,
to that in a
it was
minute.
quite exciting for me. My
Yeah.
journey wasn't easy, but I think for me, I grounded myself and told myself I don't want to stop netball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I see, the other thing is in sport, and it happens with education as well. If people were to tell you their stories, how they made it to university, there's always people behind that played a role to get that person there. And it happened with me when to come to UJ. There's people that I looked up to, and there's people that actually encouraged me, whether it was my high school teachers or people in the community or my own family. Like in her situation, I can hear that there's people that have been playing a particular role to encourage her to be where she is today. Nomfundo, was that the same for you?
It was the same, but it wasn't easy, but it was a nice journey for me. I really enjoyed it, even though it wasn't easy. But my mom was there,
Yeah.
supportive, even though she didn't give me any money because she didn't want to. She felt like netball should give me the money
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go and play. But there was this moment, I think I was in primary. We went for the trip to go and play, and I hurt my knee. And I was like, Mom, I'm hurt. Please, can you just clean my wound? And she was like, I can't. This netball yours, you'll keep on came with the bruises, but there's no maize meal, there's no money, there's everything. But every day you say, Mommy, can I have 10 rand? I'm like, no, they need to give you money, they need to come, and you need to come with the maize meal. So you'll be strong.
Yeah.
But Mama, love it. I think I need your support. She was like, I'll support you with everything that you need, but with no money on it. So I was like, I was happy.
Yeah,
I didn't stop playing, even though she didn't want, because most of the time we used to come back late if we had the trip at school and the training that used to finish late. But she wasn't like happy.
Yeah.
And my father, like, he's not so supportive
When it comes
before when it comes to netball,
Yeah.
because he feels like my aunt got pregnant during netball. She was also playing, and he feels like my aunt got pregnant during
So
the
it
netball
might-
because we used to come back late and everything. So he didn't want me to play at all.
Yeah.
But now I can see like he's happy, even though he didn't want to say or show it. But
That's how a lot of black parents are like that.
they
eh?
were.
Sometimes you get a hiding. You came back late. You didn't do this and that. You get a hiding. Sometimes you have to sneak back into the house. You know, I understand exactly what you're
Yeah.
saying, because I loved football. It's the reason why I still love football to this day. I started playing football when I was very young. We didn't have soccer boots, for instance. We played barefoot in the community. But as you go, then there are people who actually can see your potential because you become so good, right? And then, you know, as boys growing up, you have to go borrow somebody's soccer
Yeah.
boots from another team if they are not playing, for you to play, stuff like that. So I understand that type of situation with your parents. But then now that you're playing for the South African senior national netball team, that's a huge achievement for any athlete who would have wanted to achieve something in sport. What is their feeling right now? Like, what is their approach when they talk to you? Do they, you know, now you can put something on the table,
Yeah.
because you were one of the players that got the professional contracts last year, as the Netball South Africa was trying to professionalize the sport. How has that been for you? What did it do for you and your family?
It's still a lot of change, and I'm really happy and I'm really blessed that the time we get there, like I can say the legends, they paved the way for us. Like Coach Bongiwe said, I think we're really happy and they were really lucky, the new generation being part of the squad. And the time we get there was a contract and everything. I think we were really blessed and we really need to appreciate that. It's changed a lot for my life, and like now I'm doing the things that I wished to do if I had money, because now, like I said, like, okay, I have the money. I think I need to do some of the things that I wished to do if I was working. So I think that's really a blessing for us.
Yeah. And Coach, I wanted to find out from you, as a professional sport athlete, somebody that experienced, you were able to play here at home. You came up the ranks. You went and played overseas. You came back. You are the captain of the national team. And now you're preparing for the World Cup. Of course, you've played in the different other international competitions like your Commonwealth Games. What Nomfundo just said about the professional contracts, what do you think that does to a player who's invested in the sport, mentally, physically, and otherwise? Do you see that as playing a bigger part or making a big difference? And if so, can you give us examples of how what that difference make in a person like Nomfundo, for instance?
I definitely think it does bring change, firstly, in everyone's life. Like we say, we play the sport for passion. We have to love the sport. And that's a fact. You can't change that. But it's really, everyone still has debts to pay. We still have to live. And with that, you have obviously financial burdens that you have to deal with. So I really think at a national level, especially being a woman, it is so great that you can get that financial support on the side, and then you can just kind of focus on what you want to achieve. and put all your time in that, knowing that you actually have something that you can fall back to and say, if there was no other reason for you to get up and do your trainings and work really hard, you can also look at the fact that it's kind of a demand now. Like, it's something that expected of me to work hard because now I do get this type of support. And in saying this story, it's something that can be looked a bit in depth as well, because we obviously different age groups, and if you all of a sudden get this amount of money, for instance, every month that you've never used to getting before, that also can play a role in changing your lifestyle. And change of lifestyle cannot only be guaranteed to be in a good way, it can also be in a bad way, for the worse. So I think it was nice to see the start of it. I would love to still see more of a support behind the scenes in terms of, financial, I guess, planning, kind of. And
Did they offer any classes or workshops?
I don't think yet, and I can only
Yeah.
understand that it was purely probably because the movement was we need to take the sport to a different level. We need to appreciate the girls. We need to, now that we have the funds and this was the loophole, we need to cover that. And I understand that the likes of Discovery came on board. They actually help with the things like, I guess, medical aid, which is really quite great. And obviously the in-depth of it then comes with, you being matured in a sense of now you are working as you receive money. These are the expectations. I think that comes with, the more years you have in your job, the better you start planning your life, and also the saving part of it, what is good and what is not to do. So that part, I think also, I guess every one of them probably can say this. The first year might have been a boom thing and, using the money anyhow, but probably the second year started to be like, I have, these type of, I guess, expenses, these things that are important to me.
Priorities,
I also have home or family I would like to help with 1 to 3. So all of that, obviously, I guess, comes with experience. But I cannot tell you how important for me that was. It was probably one biggest highlight of netball in our country. And it's actually said somehow that the people that walked in front of even myself obviously didn't get to, reap the rewards when it came. But that's obviously sports. And I know that a lot of things that are good will come after even myself. And that's why we say when you walk in front, you don't only do it for yourself, but also obviously for the ones that are coming after you. So it's really credits to the ones that really walk the journey without actually getting anything. And for us to come on board, probably felt a little bit of a sense of, some hardships. And then eventually getting to be part of such a milestone, because it's just beautiful. And I said this to one of the articles, I really hope that it stays, that it's not just a once-off thing and not just the contracting part of it, but, all these sponsors coming on board and supporting netball. I'm really hoping that it's not just for the World Cup time, because netball carries on even after World Cup. And we do so much work even behind the scenes in grooming, I guess, student athletes now that I'm at UJ as a netball manager, but also you've got our own projects that we do outside, and we actually want to see girls taking our sports and making it a career. And now that it's started, you would hope that it doesn't really, now that it's World Cup, after World Cup, then there's nothing. And I know it's going to be hard to maintain it, because it's also, finances. That's why I'm hoping that, someone out there will actually just really constantly want to put funds into it and support as many, because with financial support straight away, you get top athletes coming through that. Even if it's not them getting it physically, the accommodation, if you pay for that, if you pay for their kits, for their shoes, they don't have to worry about it, then you're saying sport is for everyone. But if that's not there, then sport is not for everyone. It's for those who can actually
there's that,
afford.
There's that thing that happens with especially here in South Africa. I'm not sure if it happens to the rest of the world, that if a country is hosting a World Cup, everything is so amplified and structured in a way. The security part of it is there, the resources, the facilities, everything is upgraded. It looks so beautiful, né? And then the World Cup passes. I'm sure we've learned with the Soccer World Cup, right, in 2010 here in South Africa. The build up to it was a beautiful thing to watch. There's a lot of things that happen for many players, and then afterwards, it's sort of everything dies down a little bit.
That's true.
What you're saying is actually very important, and it would be interesting to observe after the World Cup whether Netball South Africa carries on with the momentum, the
Yep.
same way they are doing now, with offering players contracts, with taking players on camps and playing in different things and doing this and that for them. Now, I want to go back to you, right? I'm speaking to you and I want to see how these guys are learning from you as their coach, as their manager to their club here at the University of Johannesburg. When you played in South Africa and finally being picked by international people who saw you play in the Glasgow Commonwealth Games, what was going through your mind during that time, right? A lot of professional sports people in any country is to see yourself playing beyond the borders of your national, your country. So a lot of soccer players, for instance, they want to go play in the EPL, in the Spanish La Liga or in Serie A in Italy, because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
That's where the bigger stage of the sport is. How was it like for you leaving South Africa and going to play in the UK and in Australia during that time?
I think for me was what was interesting is when it came at the time, I didn't even believe it because it was not something I was looking forward to. I didn't really plan for it to happen.
You didn't expect it
I didn't expect it to happen. It was something that was too big for me. And I think maybe also that's one thing that can be my biggest advice for any athletes out there. You gotta be happy to deal with what's happening in front of you at a time before you look at as far, because sometimes we really just trip along the way because we jumped a bit too quick instead of really just
So
following
be
the steps.
familiar with where you
I
are.
really was just
Master
happy
this
with
part,
where I was and still being happy, but still being even unsure of my capabilities. You know, people will say, oh, you are so good in this game. And I'm like, I don't even know if I was good, like in an honest way. Like I wouldn't even recall it. Then I remember this one Facebook message on my inbox. Tamsin Greenways, who was a coach at Surrey Storm in England, one of the clubs.
She's the one that took you to the two
She
clubs.
texts me and she says, hi, Bongi. Tamsin, she tried to explain who she is, but in brief. And then she says, I'm in England, the head coach of Surrey Storm, and I would love to have you come and play for our club. And a month after month, you know, we were talking with my coach back in Hammersmith. I was from camp now. And I said to him, you know, because I think Mareka 2000 now got a contract. So I think she played for Lightning, if I'm not mistaken, it was the first time. Now I'm thinking to myself, I think I saw something to do with going to play in a league in England in my phone, but I never really paid attention to it. So I'm talking to my coach and I was like, you know, Mareka just played a match and it sounds to me like this league, I've seen it on my phone, something like that, someone asking me, but I thought it was just those scam messages.
Yeah, it's the UK Super League.
Yes.
Netball
Then
Super
he
League,
says, show me the message. So I went on my Facebook, I searched Tamsin, I could recall her name. Then we started reading it and he said, listen, you need to actually get back to her. Like find out if she's still keen, because it was after months now. So I went back.
Wait. So she texted you.
She texted me. I never responded.
And then you didn't respond.
I never responded.
And you only started paying attention after
how
long?
After a month or so. I can't remember obviously exactly how long, but I think it was after a month.
Yeah.
So then when I spoke to my coach, I went
it's
back
like
to
somebody
this
that wins the lottery and they don't know they won.
Oh, no.
They're sitting there with their ticket.
And honestly speaking, I'm very much like that because even with Rock Nations, they did the same thing. I took my time. I was like, I don't even know who they are. Like, it's fine. I'm very happy or content with where I am. And I kind of close off my space. Then eventually, if something comes through, then it's something big. You know, I always feel like I'm blessed like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, then I got back to my message and I'm like, hi, Tamsin, it's Bongi. I'm just checking if you're still keen. And checking with that, I'm just nervous. I'm like, I don't want it because if she says yes, I have to travel to England alone. You know, I didn't really like the idea. So she comes back straight away, same day. She's like, hi, Bongi. Yes, definitely. I'm going to draft an offer for you. We'll send an email, give me your email address. You ask for all the details. Do you have a manager? And I didn't know what a manager at that time is. What manager? Team manager? She's like, no, is there someone looking after you, like taking care of you in terms of sport?
Like
I'm
an
like,
agent,
no, I don't have. And then she said, okay, that's fine. I'll send everything to you. Then you can speak to your coach or whatever. That's how it started.
That's how it started.
So eventually when I got an offer, I was like, I can't believe this. Like I had to explain to my mom that this has just happened. But now I'm very bad also in sharing something that hasn't affected yet. Like if it's
So during that time, what are you doing? You playing netball in South Africa? Are you studying,
yes,
or it's just?
I was at the 2015. I was already working. I was
Yeah,
at Northlands Primary School in Devon North.
As a
and
coach?
there was as a coach. I was just a
okay.
netball coach there,
Yeah.
and then eventually I was helping with PE. And at that time, it was hard to also go in that year because obviously I have to leave my work. But actually, they were quite nice. They really eventually helped me with the visa applications and all of that. So anyway, the whole process was just, it was just overwhelming. I can't even remember how I felt. I just know that the biggest worry was, how am I going to go through all these airports alone? Like, how am I going to get there?
For the first time?
For the first time.
Have you at that time, have you traveled out of South Africa?
I did, but obviously it was with the team.
Yeah.
And I'm probably one of the worst people with, if I travel to go and play in New Zealand, it's about that. Like, it's about playing, getting back. I need to recover as much as I can because next day we're playing. I don't even care about going out and,
Learning
seeing places or
and,
learning. No, I'm
so,
bad.
So when you moved to the UK and you got there, what was the first thing? Their environment, our environment is different.
Yeah.
What was the adjustments that you had to do as a player, professional player, who lives in a foreign land somewhere and has to maintain a particular standard?
I think the most overwhelming thing also was, as soon as I walked into an arena, I remember all the players, including the coaching staff, everyone jumping, so excited, running towards me. And I'm like, I don't even know these people. Like, obviously, you go on social media and you search for the team and you try and learn names. I could picture their faces. But everyone looked like they're so excited that I'm actually coming to join the club. And from there, I got like a gym card. Like, I could go to the gym, swap the card, go to the gym, and it felt so professional, like so real. Then more than anything, I'll have like structured times. So I'll stay on my own. Food, everything is just on my own. And I'll know when it's training time, I'll get myself there. And at that time, in England, they're very big in using like the trains. I actually learned to now travel alone, having to be in a different country. And now you're jumping on the train, you're worried about, am I going to jump off at the correct stop? And I don't want to say these things to everyone because I feel like I shouldn't be treated like I'm a kid because I'm not a kid, but I'm not used to these things. So it was a whole learning process that the whole experience was not even about being on court only. Like, I learned so much within, I guess, 4 months of my time there that it's something that opened my eyes that no one can ever take it from me. And because of how independent then I started to be off the court, then on court I felt like more confidence in what I could offer because I was more like of a an holistically groomed athlete for the first time compared to just get to camp, there's a hotel, stay there, we'll take you straight back home.
So they transport you, Yeah.
So
where you were living to where you were training and playing games, you were always transported, or you had to transport yourself?
Sometimes the manager will come and pick me up.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll have to jump on the train, get to the venue.
And then you used, obviously,
and I'll have to make the arrangements.
I'm asking this because I know what it's like to come to a city for the first time. You don't know your way around. When I came to Joburg, I stayed in town.
Yeah.
You see how chaotic that place is.
I can imagine.
I had to learn my routes to move from, I stayed somewhere next to Wanderers, I think, those flats there. So I had to walk from Wanderers to Bree Street, the Bree taxi rank. So I used one route all the time because I didn't know Joburg. I didn't want to get lost, so I don't want to take the next street. And I realized that also last year when we went to Belgium with Dr. Vukuza, it was my first time out of South Africa, right? So when we get there, obviously I'm traveling on my own. Dr. V is traveling a different route, so she found me already at the hotel later. I had to go out. I can't just stay in my hotel. So I want to go out, see people, see things and whatnot. So I follow this one street.
You will know you only turn right once.
Yeah, if I turn, I must look at the building and say, okay, this is the building I'm going to use as a mark and whatnot. So obviously you get to the UK, you go through those kind of things. And how was that affecting your mental adjustment in terms of, you know that you are there on a mission.
Yeah.
You have to play netball at your best. These other things shouldn't matter. Was it tough adjusting? Other people say living in the UK, it's cold, this and that and that. How tough was that for you?
Firstly, the weather was just, yeah, it was a no-no. It was freezing. But more than anything, I didn't really spend time outside because all the trainings happened indoor. So you literally, it's just a traveling where you get to feel the cold. It was, I would say it was quite challenging to obviously try to find myself in a different country. But I had obviously everyone really wanting to help. I think that's also for me the worst thing. You know, when you're at home and everyone's like, do you know how you're getting to training today? Is your transport sorted? I think, and I like that people would want to help like that. But from growing up, I hated that. Like, I don't want people really wanting to help. I feel like I'm in control. I'll be fine. And when I think I'll be fine, I don't know the country. Then obviously I'll probably say sometimes, no, I'm fine. I'll get myself there. And then eventually I'm like, I don't even know how to get there. You know, so it was a bit of a...
on court, where you're still competitive when you get there. I know with athletes, right?
Yeah.
You could be first time maybe at UJ as a student, maybe doing your first year. You don't know the campus that well. Maybe you come from a small town. You haven't socialized with different kinds of people from all over the world. And but then once you get on court, you know one thing to do there is to play netball, right? Was that the same thing for you? When you got there, you had to switch on, focus, and forget everything else?
Definitely. I think also if you come from a township like I did, and I got such an opportunity, I just pictured constantly in my head that I need to make this work. So it was always about when I'm on court, I really need to focus, I need to work hard, I need to listen, I need to learn as much. And luckily, I played for a team that was really good. We were champions that year, 2015. And it also taught me that I don't have to do everything as a player on court. I have to do my part because everyone else can do theirs. Compared to when you play back home, obviously, for instance, if you play center, you would think you have to do all the work. So that side I learned, you know, the professionalizing part of, you know, I'm just being on courts. What is my role? And everyone feeling their roles. Then mine was just to do my part. But really, I had a great time in actually understanding myself even better, and also how capable I am, what I'm capable of doing. Because if I didn't do that, if I didn't go that year, I wouldn't be able to figure out all of that. Then in 2016, I took a break because I got a nice job opportunity in KZN. So I stayed behind. 2017, I went back with Wasps, and Tamsin was still the same coach. Got a big opportunity to go in 2018 to Suncorp, Super Netball, and I played for Thunderbirds. 2019, I went back to Was, and that's where I closed it off because I thought, after getting an offer here at UJ, I was like, I feel like I've done, you know, enough in terms of playing overseas, but also the opportunity that I got here was something that I've always prayed for. Because I was actually shy coming to the sport. I loved the sport that I didn't want to see anything else. That I thought if I work, I want to work as a netball manager or work in a netball space. And that's actually the job opportunity I got. So I knew in 2019 that after getting this offer, that's it. Like I'm not going to take a contract overseas. But that journey was just, it was really brilliant. The confidence I learned from there, the experiences, it's something that you can never... no one can take it out of yourself.
So obviously, Boitumelo Owethu Ngubane, you play in the Telkom Netball League, which is a netball league here in South Africa. Is that the only league? And how is the netball competitions in the country structured? I want you to explain how many teams are in the Telkom Netball League. And besides playing for UJ, how are the other seasons organized? I know that right now at UJ you haven't done any competitions. You're only going to do the University Sports South Africa, which is in short USA. And then later on in the second semester you're going to play in the Varsity netball competition. Can you just explain maybe to us and anyone watching this, how many leagues you play? In which team do you play, besides playing at UJ and the national netball team as well?
So usually my year starts off with playing the Telkom Netball League. Usually that's what's first on the calendar, right? And like I said, I play for the Golden Fireballs, and basically at this league, it's like all provinces playing against each other. Some provinces have two teams, and then some provinces just have one. Like Gauteng is one of the provinces that have two. And I'd say out of the whole year, TNL is one of the most competitive competitions because firstly, you find your national players playing in there, and it's really the most elite netball players that a province has playing against another province elite netball players. So it's one of the toughest netball competitions we have in the country. Then after that, we go into a season of playing USA. USA is immediately after. So the transition from TNL to USA is actually, for me, I've seen is quite exciting because especially just changing the teams. So I go from playing TNL to playing USA, where I play with your like Sammy and Mfundo and coached by Coach Bongiwe, which was different because like just a few weeks ago she was my teammate.
Yeah. So
right?
so TNL Telkom Netball League
Yeah.
is your provincial teams.
Yes.
USA is your university,
sport
clubs or
Yes.
teams.
Yeah.
So that is different in terms of like UJ will play against like your COFCs, your TACs. So like you said, that's your university sport.
Yeah.
And the growth that I've seen playing for UJ has been one of my most exciting journeys because of when I came in, it was like in the B League, and now coach said we are playing in the A division. And that means better competition, but also more exciting because I know we match up to that. You know, so playing USA is one of the exciting, and it's more it's an outdoor netball competition compared to TNL, which was indoor. Immediately after that, we go into your it's your Spa Champs. Sometimes they do come after, but most of the time Spa Champs comes before, which moves back to
The Spa Champs are not the university.
they're
No,
not
no.
university. It moves.
It's-
I was about to say
Netball
it
South
moves
Africa's
to,
program,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was about to say it moves to more like your TNL, where it's your provinces, but now it has moved to district. It was provinces before, now it's district. So instead of saying we're playing for Gauteng, we play for Johannesburg.
Oh, I
so
see.
there's your Johannesburg, there's your Tshwane, there's your Capricorn, your so
There's
it's more
Northwest,
district,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that is also exciting because again, it's more open to everybody in terms of your national players are also there. It's not just university players. Again, it's very competitive. From there, we move to Varsity Netball, which again is just your
do you think
universities.
is that the most exciting?
Which one?
Varsity netball.
I think
Like,
so. In
'cause
terms
you
of
crisscross
university
the
sports.
country, you play different varsity
Yeah.
teams. I know Telkom Netball is like hectic.
Yeah.
I watched some of the matches, very hectic.
Yeah.
Which one stands out for you the most in terms of those, besides the national ones?
For me, if I had to choose, I'd actually say Varsity Cup for me is way more exciting because I just like the hype of it, but also because I think it's because also of our personal preparation. Like our preparation going to Varsity Cup has always been exciting. I feel coach just had a way of just making Varsity. For me, last year was my first time playing Varsity Cup, but I've seen it before. I've seen it played. Just the hype around what Varsity Cup is and the experience that we've made it for ourselves, the culture that we have as UJ specifically for Varsity Cup, for USA, and I mean, it's no child's play. And I mean, for me, competition is exciting. But to have a coach that, you know, you can see her player aspect in her coaching. And going to training feels like, you know, I'm going to work, I'm going for a job, and there's a purpose and there's the excitement as well. It's not just like, you know, but the excitement between to Varsity Cup is exciting. Every weekend, Monday we're waiting to travel to Bloemfontein. We're waiting to travel to Pretoria. Then we're going to Stellenbosch. We're talking about, okay, the log and stuff like that. It's just very exciting to be competitive, first of all.
Yeah.
One
So
of the teams
would you say Varsity Netball
Yeah.
is almost like a preparatory stage for you to be more organized and competitive in the national netball setup?
I think so.
Because I mean, you do the traveling there, you play as a team, you play other varsity students. For me, I think that would be one of the preparatory leagues or tournaments.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it is.
But on that, I think with Varsity Netball, the biggest highlight for me when I came in 2019, you get to see student athletes, not just athletes.
Yeah.
So in national champs, anyone in a district can play. It doesn't matter if you don't want to go to school or not, you know. But in varsity netball specifically, USA, you can play even if you're not doing well academically.
Yeah.
But varsity netball specifically demands you
What
to
is
do
the
well.
criteria?
You basically have to get to a certain credits a year obviously with your academics, that you qualify to play for varsity netball. And I love that because then it brings, especially, I'll say this openly, you know, the girls that come from the townships, part of it, mostly they would love to just play the sports because that's what they're used to coming from home compared to really focusing, you know, in school as well. Then when you're here, you're actually forced to be able to plan your life accordingly, time management, you know, when do you do your assignments, because you have to pass to be able to qualify to play next year as well. It doesn't matter your skill. Even if performance-wise you can, but if your mark says you've got 50 credits and the demand is 60, you can't play. So we have to skip you for that year until you get the credits correct end of the year, then the following year you qualify. So I just love the holistic part of we bringing the person to get on court, show the world that they got the skill, but it also means they're actually doing well academically. Because even a national setup, when you get there and you actually, in terms of academics, you're doing well, you can see someone that you work with and you actually know, oh, she's got a sense of, you know, academically also as a person, she's actually more, in that sense, qualified because the communication level is already up there. So it's easier for them to adapt. You know, it's easier for someone who comes from a high performance setup to adapt at national level. But you can't be high performance if you're not doing well academically. And also you can't just be at university for 6-7 years and you're not getting any qualification. The idea of what we do is for you to get back home one day and change things up, you know, and make things work at home, because we know we come from obviously different backgrounds and somewhere, somehow they're actually waiting for us to come and be a hope at home. So I love the varsity netball setup, varsity sports, I would say. It's actually great.
So basically you have like your smart students playing
Yeah,
competitive sport.
definitely.
People that are good in class,
Definitely.
also good in sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it competitive as well. I think that's actually what coach say, like now I'm actually realizing, I think that's what makes it very competitive because you're playing against academically intelligent people as well, not just people that are here for skills. Somebody
commented on our UJ Sports social media. I think it was Insta or Facebook. So we posted, I did an article and we posted it on social media about Owethu when she joined the national team. And somebody said, quick catch and release. Is that how you play? Like, are you fast? So that's how they described you. They said, you are quick, you are fast, and you release the ball quicker. What position do you play, and how was the run for you last year? Because you did well in the 2022 Varsity Netball tournament. UJ finished in. You didn't have to go and play for third and fourth, right?
No.
But you made it through the
semi-final for the first time.
You
actually
couldn't go through because Matis. It was a neck-on-neck performance.
Exactly.
And I believe that had you guys played in Johannesburg, that you were going to win that game. We all watched the match. We know what happened in Stellenbosch.
No.
And how was the run for you last year, the whole 2022?
Last year for me it was quite exciting because it was my first time playing Varsity Cup. I used to watch Varsity Cup at home all the time. I was like, I want to play Varsity Cup one day. So when I finally got the offer at UJ to come and like study at UJ and play netball as well, it was quite exciting for me. So I knew I was part of the Varsity Cup squad, Varsity USA squad. So I had to work to be in the squad and in the HP team. So I play goal attack, goal shooter. I won't say I'm fast.
So you and Mishuri play the same position?
Yes, but I play goal attack more now.
Oh, I see.
I'm a goal attack more now.
So, obviously, goal attack is the person who shoots.
Yeah, she shoots and feeds the shooter as well.
Yeah.
So Mushuri will be mainly a shooter.
Yeah.
And she can do both shooter and goal attack. So she'll kind of assist as well.
Yeah. So you go fetch the ball.
And then you can still shoot as well.
Yeah. We've got our very own beast here. I got her. She might be shy here on cameras. Guys, this lady is something else on court. I went to, when you guys played in Bloemfontein, who were you playing there?
Tax.
Oh, yes.
You played two matches, or I remember the date. It was the 2nd of October.
Tax was there.
Tax and UWC.
Yeah. Oof. It was you. It was Owethu, Buitumelo, and Tale. And of course, Mishuri. The whole squad was just on fire. You guys you showed Tax flames in that match. What was the most what was the drive? What was the force behind your performance in 2022? Was it because, did you guys have a particular goal to say we want to reach the semis or we want to reach the finals? And by the way, UJ was in the semis for the first time in the history of netball at UJ. So can you explain for us your run in the 2022 Varsity netball?
Actually, it was incredible. Yeah, it was interesting.
And I think that's where, Coach, would you agree that sorry to interrupt you,
Okay.
that's where maybe Netball South Africa spotted her and decided maybe we can
They-
feed her.
they-
you know,
No,
the two of
I think
them.
they actually got more or less the same time, but during the UJ time, that's what I liked.
Yeah.
So was it
I
20?
made it 2021 August.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I think you
It was
were
later.
later,
Last
and
year.
then last year,
made it
and the
last
same with her and Tale.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of them playing within the university, but also, like I said, high performance setup, it can just show within an athlete. Like I've watched them now playing into varsity. You can just see physically that the type of conditioning that we want is coming through. Although it's not where we would want it to be, we always want more, but you can see it. So that also, I guess, the university setup, including obviously the opportunities out there, helps a lot.
Yeah. Nomfundo, I want you to describe it for yourself. How was it for you as a player playing in there? Was it your first time playing varsity netball last
Yes.
year? First time also?
Yes.
First time and first time. And you guys played, you had to travel to Pretoria and then Potchefstroom and then Bloemfontein and then Cape Town. How was the whole experience for you?
It was interesting, and I really enjoyed it, even though it was my first day. And I think since from January, I think everyone was hungry. We were hungry for it. I think we were described as the underdogs, and we told ourselves this thing of an underdog needs to finish. 2022, it's the time that everyone will say UJ and will see what we're capable of. And I think that year we showed everyone that we were capable of winning, but even though it didn't happen, but this thing of people treat us as underdogs, it's finished now. I think they know UJ and where we stand.
I think going into this year's tournaments, people are obviously going to play you knowing UJ is the team to beat. And if you know, sometimes when you walk into a tournament, even me as a communications officer for UJ, I know if they say we're playing this team from the north or whatever, I know this one we're gonna pass. But the moment they say you're playing Matis or you're playing Kopsis, hey, you know, man, hey, now we have to bring our A game. Owethu, you made your debut for the Proteas in the game. I think it was the Quad Series.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Cape Town, you were playing Australia.
Yes.
How was that for you?
Um,
Like finally now you are playing for the national team and you guys are preparing for the World Cup, which South Africa is going to host this year in July and August. I want you to give me, just try and go back in time a little bit and give me your feeling when you stepped on court, when you saw your name on the sheet for the team, and what went through your mind? Were you nervous when you got on court? And obviously, I know that as a player, you can be never stepping onto court, but you have to adjust quickly and start believing that you can do this. And unfortunately, you guys lost that game, right? Did you lose?
Yeah.
They lost the game.
Yeah.
And but you did very well in the tournament as well. How was the feeling for you? How was the experience? And did you realize that finally I am where I wanted to be all this time?
For me, it was quite exciting getting my first debut as a Spa Protea player against Australia. I was nervous at first, but I told myself I'm going to be just calm, as collected as I can, just play my game, and just like I knew that everyone was backing me up, even on courts. Like everyone was like telling me just relax, be yourself, and just play your game. For the experience part, for me, it was more of learning the international side of netball, just learning, watching the people play, watching how the setup is, and it's quite different international side than like Varsity Cup and TNL and what. For me, it was quite a learning experience to learn an international side. But for me, it was quite exciting, and I was happy when they gave me that goal attack bid and coach told me you're going in and you have to be focused. So for me, it was quite exciting and interesting as well. I even enjoyed myself on court, even though we lost that game.
Yeah.
So for me, it was quite fun, and I enjoyed myself on court that day.
How many caps do you have for South Africa, coach? Approximately.
157, I think.
And she
I have
has
one.
one.
It's fine. I'll give her
You're
7.
coming. You're coming. You're
I'll
coming.
give her 7.
Yeah. And let's talk about the national setup. You guys went on a camp recently in March. You were there for almost
6 days.
26 days, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were the sort of things that you did when you were there? I know you're preparing for the World Cup. So you had first at the beginning of the year, the quad series. And then now you went on camp, and now you're going to play in the Telkom Netball League. And then soon after that,
Camp again.
the World Cup is going to start in July, late July, early August. What are the sort of things that you guys do when you're in camp to prepare for that? And I also want to talk about the recent games, some of the competitors that you guys are going to face in the World Cup. I saw the games that you guys played in the Commonwealth Games, and it was a bit tough for South Africa there. But firstly, let's hear from you, Owethu. What are the things that you do there that you learn to prepare for the World Cup?
Well, now at the camp, I think what people need to also understand is that besides, when people think we're going to camp, besides it just being a training camp, we have other responsibilities as Proteas that we need to do, and that stuff, like we had a couple of photo shoots for our sponsors. As this is a big year for Netball South Africa, but for the world in terms of netball, there's stuff that need to go out, and our sponsors need things from us. So we do stuff like photo shoots as well, interviews for your super sport, your spa, and all of those things. But going into camp in March was more of, like I said, it's a training camp, but we also played a couple of matches. And I believe with matches, that's where we build in combinations, and that's the time right now. As much as we can do the skills, the gym and everything, we want to build that bond and that connection that we want to have on court. So we played a couple of matches to see the different combinations. We trained your skills, we did your fitness, we did your strength. So everything is covered during those times, and I think sometimes that's why our camps are so long. So just in summary, we do your photo shoots, your interviews, your workshops, and then we train in terms of like your gym, on-court skills, match play, and sometimes, when they're nice, they give us a break, and in that time
When they're nice.
when they're nice, when they're nice, they give us a break, and in that time we just have time to just do other things outside of netball. Like your student athletes will study. Then sometimes, you have time to just have dinner with your family or friends that you have in Stellenbosch. So just to get that social aspect, but having time to do other things outside, just being a spa Protea. So, yeah.
This is the most critical period for any netball player right now who's in the national squad. Especially, I'm saying this because you guys have to play some matches and some competitions for other teams before the World Cup. And injuries,
Touch wood.
you don't want that stuff to happen. You don't. Does netball have a lot of injuries compared to other sports like your football, rugby, etc.? Do you guys will go into those tournaments fearing that I don't want to pick up an injury because I want to play in the World Cup?
I think it can happen anytime. Like an injury can happen even at home when you're playing, let's say, social whatever game. It's not something that you can say, I don't want to be part of the competition because maybe an injury is going to happen, because that can happen anyway. But also, as much as it's World Cup here and you want to think of your injuries, being safe, you still want to have competition. You still need to be match fit, match ready. And the only way, if you're in South Africa now, that you can get to be match fit is to play Telkom Netball League. And if you don't play that, then come July, you won't be fit enough, to be up and down the court. So I guess there's a fine line. But I don't think we have injuries more than other sporting codes. I think it's just an injury comes randomly. Like sometimes you would think I've done all I could, I'm fit enough, and then eventually something happens. Sometimes you would think I'm not fit, but you go through the whole season like you were the fittest. I guess it just depends. If you're not lucky on the day, then it'll happen.
So it's something that you cannot really put on your mind that much. Now, let me just give a little bit of history nyana there about you, because I want that to rub onto the other guys going forward. For the viewer there, Bongiwe Msomi is one of South Africa's top netball athletes. She's the captain of the senior national team, the SPA Proteas. She joined them in
2011 national
2011.
team.
Yeah, that's when she made her debut there. And she became the captain of the team in 2016 until now.
Yeah.
That's the longest thingy.
It's been long.
Yeah. Then you went on to play in other countries like the UK. You played for Surrey Storm.
Yep.
In the UK Netball Super League. Your coach, Tamron Greenway, as you've spoken about her, she's the one that gave you a chance both at the two clubs there, Surrey Storm and the other one, the Wasps. Yeah. And then also in 2017, you played for Adelaide Thunderbirds.
2018,
2018. And then you played in the Australia Suncorp Super Netball.
Yep.
And at the end of the 2018 season, then you returned to UK to play for the Wasps again.
In 2019.
For somebody that is so exposed to at that level and for the different environments in the UK, in South Africa, in Australia, what do you say to these young ladies here that you are coaching at UJ, that you're also managing in the club? What do you tell them? Obviously, firstly, how they carry themselves. Secondly, how they play in the sport. And just in general, to motivate somebody. I'm sure they look at you as somebody who's their role model. I mean, imagine being coached by somebody who's an athlete represented by Rock Nation Sports. That's Jay-Z's agency, right? If you go to Rock Nation Sports website, you will see the type of athletes that Rock Nation is managing worldwide. They've got people like Marcus Rashford, who's playing for Manchester United in the UK. People like Kevin De Bruyne, who's playing for Manchester City. Here in South Africa, they've got Siya Kolisi, you've got Themba Bavuma. You became the fourth in South Africa.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. You are accomplished. And I get goosebumps talking about it. For you guys that are being coached by somebody like her here at UJ, you train with her, you see her in the office, you travel with her to different competitions. What does that mean to you? They say to me when I was growing up, if you get somebody that has something you need, get as much as possible, milk that person, right? What do you guys take from somebody like Bongiwe?
For me,
should I go hide somewhere?
I think you need to hear this one. Yeah.
My journey with Coach Bongiwe will always be special to me because she took me from a place where at that time I was not happy with where I was not happy with who I was in the sport, and she took me in immediately, and till this day she's someone I go to for big stuff like contracts that I get, like with agencies. So I just trust her with anything that has to do with netball. Like I trust to sit down with her and be like, Coach, okay, what do I do? Because I know, you read her whole life and we know her whole life, and more than that, we know her. We're starting to know her personally. You know who she is outside of just being what you read and what is in front of you. So to have somebody like that in my corner that I absolutely trust with my netball career, but also someone that I can sit and laugh with and be my teammate. Like I was thinking about the other time that right now we're going to TNL in Limpopo and she's my roommate. So for someone to be my coach, my mentor, my roommate,
forgot about that.
You're so
like
lucky. You're so lucky to have her.
And I'm excited because I get all of that brilliance close to me. And for other people, they wish they could have that. They get her through Instagram, like through DMing me. And for me, I can sit with her in her office and say, Coach, what do I do? This is what I'm going through. What do I do face to face? Tell me. And I trust that. So I'm super blessed. And I was telling I'm going to be here until I cannot be in UJ because I want to, like you said, I want to milk all of that till I can't.
Yeah. And for you, Owethu, you're still young, you're starting out, but here's this person. and he's got all these things. What does that do to your brain?
So for me, when I was in matric, I had to choose the varsity I had to go to. So I had 5 offers of other varsities, but UJ wasn't one of the the ones that
Those
didn't
teams,
offer
yeah.
me. So I was like, I was thinking, who's in UJ? Who's the coach there? And then people told me it was Coach Bongiwe. I was like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
I want to coach there.
Yeah.
I want to be coached by her. I want a different environment. I want to be coached by a different coach that has different things.
Yeah.
So being part of being coached by her, being a teammate, being at camp, Spa Proteas camp, I'm blessed and truly grateful for.
So it is
being
actually
part of.
it is actually true when they say that students during the recruitment processes, from when they are still in high school as prospective students for universities, for them to choose universities, they look at who's the coach,
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
true.
who are the players that
Trust
play
me,
there.
it's
So
the
that actually is
coach.
big. It's
Yeah,
something
it's
that
big.
influences a person's decision to choose an institution.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And then Nomfundo, was it the same with you? You come from KZN. She comes from KZN. You speak the same language, you play in the same teams, you represent the same institutions. What does that mean to you? Say it. This is an opportunity. They say give a person their flowers when they can still smell
They
them.
can still
Say
smell
it,
them.
my lady. Don't be shy.
Okay. She knows how I feel when it comes to this topic.
Yeah.
I think 2021, I was supposed to come to UJ, and I think I applied so late. And then 2022, I got the forms again. And I said, no, man, I think this is the time. I need to do it. And I think I WhatsApp your coach and ask about the information and everything. And she sent me to Snake, and then Snake can help me. And I think I feel so emotional.
No, say it. Speak. I understand. I'm sure even the viewers at home, they do understand. Let me just give a little bit of the connection here.
Yeah.
These are top athletes, not just at UJ, but in South Africa. Because Nomfundo, you won was it Player of the Year for the KZN, was it Majuba region or something, in 2021 or
Was
last
that the
year?
best shooter for KZN awards?
It was you.
I think
Tale.
You and Tale.
I think then she got
Sportswoman of the Year.
Sportswoman of the Year.
Yeah,
That was KZN award.
So these are top performing athletes, and for
and
me,
the same with her. I think she got Limpopo Sportswoman of the Year.
yes,
as well.
during that time, was it 2021 or 2022?
Both, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are doing well in your own right. You've got Coach Bongiwe, who also gives you the inspiration. And I'm mentioning all these international exposures for her simply because I think that's where you are headed. And the reason why I say, what does that do for you, is I know maybe you have plans for the next, you don't know exactly. I know with opportunities is you never know when it's going to come, and you don't know which direction it's going to come.
True.
And what does that mean for you? Would you like to see yourself playing in the UK, for instance, or in Australia, or even America, or any other place where sports is thriving internationally? Where do you see yourself? Anyone can take this one.
I think.
Let's start with
I
you.
think, as she said at first, you need to focus what's happening in that time, and then everything will follow into places.
Yeah.
But I think since we're playing and we love netball and everything, and since we're looking up to her, and we're really blessed to have her in our life, because she doesn't greedy to share the information that she had or experienced before. So I think it's make everyone hungry and wished to be where she was before. So I think everyone would love that. Yeah.
And for you, Owethu, I understand you're still a youngster, but I feel like you still have a long way to go in terms of, you can create the longevity that you need, because age allows you, first of all, and your talent also allows you. And the mere fact that you are exposed in spaces where she is, that means international people do see your talent as well when you play. I want you to just give me maybe a brief over where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, your ambitions, basically. You may not necessarily go there to play there, but what is your next, where do you see yourself beyond just South Africa?
I do want to see myself playing like UK, like Super League netball in the next like 5 years or 6 years. Let me just estimate there. So yeah, I do want to be exposed in other places, and I've already been exposed in Force 5 netball, so that for me is quite a big thing. So yeah, I do want to see myself playing like other leagues and being exposed like in UK and what, because it's quite exciting being in this netball journey, carry on playing, being alongside Coach Bongi, the person that inspires us every single day. So seeing her journey and looking at our journey, like I want to be like that type of person, creating my own journey as well, being that like myself, creating my own journey as well.
Yeah. And for you, Boitumelo?
Ultimately, I do want to also see myself in the UK League and in the Suncorp League in the next, 3 to 5 years. Even earlier, like I said, like you said, it's about living in the moment. And should it happen next year in 2 years, that would be great. Like, but at the end, that's the end goal as well. Playing World Cup and growing. The biggest thing for me in my netball career has always been growth. Like can I look at myself the previous year and say we are at a better place, at a bigger place? Have we grown, and how's the mindset? So like being with Coach Bongi and seeing what she has achieved, it shows that it's possible. I mean, I'm with someone consistently that has the profile that she has. It shows me every day that it's possible. So to just grow into that and create my own story in the same way, being and ultimately being someone that people look at and say it's possible, because I've had someone that I've looked at and say that showed me that it is possible. So overseas and having that contract is the goal, is part of the goals. Many goals, but I mean, I'm not forcing it. I'm living in the moment. That's what I've learned. I'm around someone that does that. So I'm just living in the moment and playing my best at this point. And where my best gets me is where I want to be.
Yeah. I want to speak about the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that everyone is looking up to, forward to this year. If you are a sports fanatic, that's one of the things, simply also because it's hosted in South Africa.
Yes.
You've done the camp, you've done the quad series, you've prepared well, and I think it's from now, with literally under 100 days. I saw the countdown. You played in the Birmingham Commonwealth Games last year, and I watched some of your games, and South Africa wasn't really doing well in that challenge or that competition. I saw the girls from Jamaica. They're very young, they're very agile, they're very fast. Do you see that in the South African squad currently? Have you guys improved from that tournament last year? And obviously you've got new youngsters that were added later on, the likes of Owethu. Where do you guys see yourself finishing in the World Cup? Or where do you see yourself lifting the trophy? Of course, every team that walks in there, whether you are a Jamaica or England or Australia, South Africa, any other team also that may be deemed as a small team in the world, they don't walk into a tournament thinking, nah, we're just going to finish the group stages and then we go to the quarters, then we should be fine. Everyone wants to lift the trophy. You've prepared, you are doing all these things because you want to be champions. With the preparations and everything else, how do you see South Africa performing in the World Cup?
I think after the quad series, I was quite confident that we got to put out a great performance, because we obviously played the top 3 in the world, played against Australia, England, and New Zealand, and especially the game we drew against England. I thought there we had a couple of chances where we could have won that game. We even went back to the changing room. I remember Coach Noma.
Yeah, it ended.
Yes.
It was.
I remember Coach
Noma.
Noma.
54, 53, or somewhere there. It was very close.
Coach Noma at some point said, I think it was the first time also, she was like, you guys need to believe that you've got all it takes after this. And you want to hear that from someone who's leading, in front, and especially with such experience. She's one of the greatest netball coaches in the world, I can say that. And for us to have her standing in front of us saying that, and based on our performance in a quad series, I can It's different when you go and play, I would say, Commonwealth Games, because there's group stages, there's different teams, and all teams are ranked, differently. So here we had 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And I remember, even the games that we lost, like it was really a completely different story compared to what happened at Commonwealth Games. And that also, Lucky was part of it. It's the vibe and whatever the situations were at that time. It's a completely different story to where we are now. We came back from holidays, Christmas holidays, straight after, I guess, the first, I think it was the third, we came back to work and we went straight to camp. Then we had the quad series.
Yeah.
So we didn't really even have much time to prepare, but we had such performances, which then can give, I guess, anyone that oomph to say we're there. From there, we picked up a few things where we thought this is what we needed to work on. And the basic one was fitness. And if I mean fitness, it was not just the running up and down, it was also the strength of it. And we're working on that and we're hoping that, if you look at me, you can probably see some changes and think, there's probably something, But, on a serious note, we know where we needed to pick up. It's not a high school team, where you say, it will be fine next time. There's fine lines. There's also terms from this time to this time. This is where you should be. So we also have those goals or desires in our own before we even get to a team. So we kind of know. And at national setup, before you know it, the next day it's fitness tests. No one told you a day before. And you can't say, you didn't tell us. You just go through it. So there's no time really to sit back. But no team, like you said, goes to a World Cup. And I don't even know how to explain it when you're hosting it for the first time ever in South Africa and not want to win it.
Yeah.
So the idea will always be in your head, but the reality of it also needs to play a part, because the World Cup is not just TNL. It's not just national champs. So there's reality of, we rank 5th in the world. And ranking 5th, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 that we probably have to beat to be able to finish top. And in saying this, the minor, the nitty-gritty that we need to do in between, like I said, we're playing part in that. And if you do that, you cannot go wrong with actually improving from where you were. And if I think about it, if we have a crack against one of the top 3 and we beat them, a World Cup in 2019 that we played in Sydney, we actually didn't even think much about any other team but a team that we played at the time. And we beat Jamaica. No one believed that. As soon as we beat them, we knew we were through to semi-finals. We played Australia in the semi-final. We lost by 2 goals. That was almost history, kind of. So I know that because it's such a big event, you take it one day at a time. You give it a big crack and be on form on the day. If you get a hit on one big game and you win it, then you're already on the next phase. So I think where we sit, we can't just go and say, gold, just talking and singing it. It's performance. One game at a time. And obviously we know the end results. Everyone knows that really, but reality still needs to come through with us. And I can tell you now, we had such a great camp from the 1st of March to the 26th, where everyone literally was in tears at some point. That's how hard we were working. And that's the reality of it. That's what I'm putting out. And if you do those things, knowing what you're preparing for, getting to each and every one coming next to you, you have the pride and know that I've done the work. Then you got to give it out way better than you did maybe at Commonwealth Games, because you know the work you've put in compared to anything else. I'm really quite excited about it. So I think we've got to have a big crack. So it's going to be good to see where we finish.
Yeah. You can tell she's the captain of the national team. She knows her story. She speaks about all the ins and outs of netball. If you've just joined us, this is the conversation that looks into sport at UJ, and we are, of course, UJ Sport on UJTV. Please subscribe to the channel. Watch our previous shows. They will be on YouTube. You can go and check the different interviews that we've done in the past. Coach, as we conclude this conversation, of course, you guys are classified as a high-performance team or club within the university, alongside rugby, football, cricket. It's you guys and who else? There's about 5, I think. Those are classified as high performance hockey, ne?
Hockey?
Yeah, those are high performance clubs. And then there's the competitive side, which is your rowing, basketball, squash, and the others. We've got 11 codes at UJ. Now, you are also recruiting from the students population. those that can play in the casual games for the university. I know that you were doing trials recently trying to recruit people. What do you look for in those people, and who qualifies to come through and play netball for UJ?
The basic thing that we do at UJ, and I like that I'm very much supported in putting all my plans in place in how I think it will come through as best. And I think up to now, we've actually have been doing really well. I think I'll say the past 2 years. We do have an open door policy. We let everyone come in and we'll give them a first round, second round of trials. And obviously we'll finalize the third round. If you didn't make the HP squad that we look for in the year, which is like 30, in a year where we're lucky, we go up to like 35. Then we will advise that you join our club, because our club is an open club. Even if you're not part of HP, you can always be part of our programs for the year. Then some of the girls that are part of the club and maybe our first years and didn't form part of the HP squad, then sometimes in the following year, they actually come back to the trials and make the HP squad, because the development plans is still the same as what we do at HP. Then if we look at in terms of, now you're coming in from high school, what we look for obviously is you having good academic record. Let's say your matric results have to look good. And also your netball history. Let's say maybe you played for your first team in high school, maybe when you were still in grade 10 up to grade 12, maybe you were one of the captains. We look at that, and it helps if you've already played, let's say, under 18 SA tournaments. So we look at your performance, your top performance in both academics and netball. Then that actually can qualify you to get a scholarship, I would say. So anyone who's in a sense of a elite standard, as they come through the system, depending on the numbers we have in the year and what we can offer, then we look at obviously taking them to our elite group being the high performance. Okay, so as we go, you obviously know some students will graduate in a year. So probably, let's say this year, if we have 5 students who graduated, HP is 30, then you still have, those girls who you've been working with throughout the year actually within the system. But also we're quite open and fair in terms of, as you come in, you come to trials, even if you make the HP squad, we constantly do one-on-ones where I really just love to sit with the girls and listen to them in terms of what do you want to achieve? Where do you think you are in terms of your performance? And the most important part of it is when we'll put all their names down in terms of their positions and their departments of play. So if you're a goal shooter, we'll put all the shooters, we'll put the mid-court and defenders, and we'll say that your name is there as well. So rate everybody, including you. So by the time it comes to selection part of it, we actually know what's their thought as well. And not to say we need to take it, but we work together here. And I just love that our group in terms of coaches is quite young. So we're quite exposed to what happens out there. What we wanted to create from day one was the idea of what I wouldn't like to receive as a player. I don't want to give to them. And because I always think of that, I want to constantly be at my peak to make sure the information they get or the setup that we put out is to benefit them, not to be against them, kind of. So I think it's actually been working really well. But
do we have a male team for UJ?
We do have a male team, and we started actually fully to have them this year. And as part of USA going on next year, apparently universities will be having netball males here. Oh, okay. So they're quite a big part of us. 1st of May, we're going to have a members get together where our high performance squad in females are going to present a project that they're doing. And last night, actually, the males did confirm to me that they're quite happy to also present something. So we have now changed things up. We're supposed to have 1 high performance squad in seniors, which is 30. This year, we said we're going to have under 19 high performance squad, which we have 26 this year. We have 37 seniors, and we have 20 males. All HP, different standards. And they all get trained the same systems, which really helps these girls also to train against the males. And also the males who are taught exactly the same as they're taught. So it's quite interesting. And the idea of under 19s is to feed into, if someone goes, then obviously you have to set up.
And of course, if you are a netball lover, you want to play, but you're not one of the high performance athletes that we're talking about, you can come to me. Why do I say this? We've got the healthy campus program at UJ, and
Yeah.
we also organize games for the different departments and campuses. Last year we started with the UJ Active Fridays. Every last Friday of the month. So people get together. We book a facility for them. You can either play a five-a-side football, you can play a netball game. You could be a staff member, you could be a student. Anyone that wants to play at UJ is welcome to play in that program. The point of that program is to encourage people to be active and be healthy as part of the university community. And Bongi has been very helpful in that program. So as we organize those matches, she would come and become the referee, the official. She's officiating, and we've had a very interesting few games where the rugby coaches and the conditioning coaches, Toki,
we're playing and
came and
tackling
played there. Our social media officer, David Soto, also was in there. We also had some staff that had fun in those games during the UJ Staff Day last year at the UJ West Sports there. So that's where I actually learned that netball, some people will think, it's a woman's sport, it's not that tough, I can go there and bulldoze them. That thing is very difficult. You have to run the court, you have to be very quick.
Peripheral vision.
You need to know who's marking you, you need to know when you catch, where do you pass the ball, stuff like. It's a hectic sport, and I take my hat off for people like you guys doing it professionally here at UJ, in the provinces, and in the national team. All I can say to you is keep it up, and we wish you all of the very best as you go into the Telkom Netball League, which starts now. And then when you finish there, then you're going to go into, is it USA going to come before? Before you go to the World Cup. And all eyes will be on you in the national team. All eyes will be on you in those other teams that you will be playing for before you head to the World Cup. So all the best to you, and thank you very much for making time. I really appreciate this moment.
Thank you so much.
I'm signing out. My name is Collen Maipa, and I'm responsible for communications in the UJ Sports division here at the University of Johannesburg. Please remember to comment, share your thoughts with us. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. You've been awesome.
The University of Johannesburg, the future reimagined.